Good morning, everyone. It's Justice for Comics. Just wanted to shoot a quick video to highlight some ways that I store my books, especially books that I like and want to continue to hold long term in my collection. So what I typically do is I use a 7 1/4 standard. It's called a standard comic size, My Lights 2. This gives you the best protection. It's got an 1.5 inch flap to secure the book. So it's 7 1/4 by 10 1/2. This is what I tend to use for all my long-term storage. And I also use the full-back acid-free backing boards, 7 inches by 10 1/2. So they're a little thicker. As you can kind of see, the thickness is a little bit better for keeping the comic really straight and protected in there. So a little bit more money for these, but usually Amazon or eBay tends to have the best deal. Either one. I see sometimes the price fluctuates, but not by much. Usually those are the two places I go to pick up a supply of those. The other thing I do is on the flap. You can kind of see here I secure it with 2 pieces of tape, and I use specifically I use this Scotch removable double-sided tape. So I put 2 strips down on each side where the flap goes down, and usually it'll hold the flap really well, I find. And I use removable because I don't want anything permanently causing a residue on my MyLight. And these removable ones, it comes right off. So if you don't like the way you put the tape on, or eventually you decide you just want to take the tape off and use a different method, the tape comes right off, no problem. So you can find this at Office Depot and Staples, removable double-sided tape. It's like $6 for a roll. It lasts quite a while, so that's what I tend to use. I've also seen on Amazon, when you look at these full back boards, the company is E. Gerber. Yeah, E. Gerber there, and they make the MyLights and the backing boards for your best books. I think they also make a tape that you can buy. It's kind of like a double-sided tape, and it goes all the way across. It's like it's in a big long roll, and it's a strip, and you can kind of place it completely over the flap if you want to go that route. But it's like $20. I don't know if it'll last longer than buying these Scotch tapes that I tend to go with, but I don't like what I've seen a lot of people do is where they put a tape down. I don't care for that. It's a little cleaner, nicer looking. It kind of hides it pretty well. So when you look at the book, and I tend to do front and back in my collection. I know some people don't do that. Some people flip them around. I've been collecting for many, many years, decades, and I've never had any problems with putting comic books back to back like that. What you want to do is also just make sure your box doesn't get too full, and I'll put sometimes some boards in the front to keep any problems from the flap of the box causing any damage. But you don't want your books to be too tight. You want them to be a tad loose so you can flip through them, and so that you don't have any damage to the book from bending or that type of thing. So I've been collecting for a long time and I haven't had any issues. And these MyLights, they're a little bit more expensive definitely than a regular poly bag and board, but I think they're the way to go, especially if it's a comic book that you want to keep sort of permanently in your collection, that you don't foresee yourself flipping or selling. I would go that route. So those were my thoughts on the protecting of your books. Some of my boxes, some of them I have this black. I went with long boxes here, the plastic long box, which they get pretty heavy, so they're not ideal for moving. I mean, I kind of view it as my workout if I'm going through my comic books. It definitely is a little bit of a workout. These weigh about 65 pounds a piece, so there's a little bit of weight involved there versus a short box. But they hold a lot of books. So I've my collection's not real big, but you know, it's a good size. And the long boxes, the plastic ones will hold up the best long term. They don't tend to have, you know, they don't tear like the cardboard ones do. But the cardboard ones are so cheap that, yeah, you can buy new ones every so often. So either way you go, I don't think it really matters. It's going to be about the same. It's whatever you prefer. But that's kind of how I store my books. I use long boxes, and for my permanent collection, I use the E. Gerber MyLite 2s and the full back boards, both from E. Gerber. They tend to work best for me, that I find. And I also make sure that they're a little wider. I want them a little bit of margin on each side so that the book kind of, you know, doesn't get pinched and stays relatively in good shape on all corners. So that's the way I go with my collection. And anybody has any comments or things that they like, please post them below. Make sure you subscribe to my videos. I'd love that. And hit the bell for notifications. I'd love to continue to grow my subscriber base and come up with some other ideas in this wonderful world of comic collecting. All right, thanks guys.